Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. So let's see. I think we're live. We are. Welcome, welcome. Let's see here. I am so excited to be here with you today. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Wherever you are around the world, you're in the right place. You are with IIU, and our session today is the ABCs of branding. As you know, we have very soon a boot camp for entrepreneurs. A lot of people did not know what a boot camp was. So these 3 days, yesterday, today, and tomorrow, we'll be talking about what a boot camp is. And a boot camp is not really a training, it's more intensive, but it's not really an incubator, an accelerator. It's actually a space where we dedicate time to really hone our skills or learn something new. So very soon you'll be seeing a date for the new boot camp. This is a pre-boot camp and it's completely free and accessible to you. Yesterday we spoke about the most important key elements and the steps to open a business. We didn't open a business, we didn't work on it, we explained what that was. So today we're going to be talking about branding. And branding is just as important as opening that business, because once you open that business, you are in the running and you are a brand. My name is Virginia Rivera, and I am so excited to be here because I am a mentor, consultant, and a coach for entrepreneurs. This is what I do. This is what I love. And branding was my life for almost 13 years when I was director of branding and marketing for Starbucks. I learned so much in that moment, what branding means and how it transcends everything, and how you can be a corporate or global brand immediately. So let's continue talking today about the ABCs. This is not a brand training. This is not creating your brand. It's the ABCs of brand, and I want you to be part of it. So let's go ahead and share our screen. Let me do this, and we'll continue talking about the importance. So let's go ahead and do this quickly. Why do I think it's so important that you know about this? We can't be an entrepreneur if we do not know about branding, because every single one of us is a brand. I don't know if you knew that. You are a brand. You are so unique, and what you bring to the table is as unique as Adidas, Starbucks, Tata. We are all brand. So I want you to put your brand cap on, and we're going to learn today the ABCs of branding. I'm going to go ahead and start this presentation, and I want you to read closely. What is branding? What is branding? What do you think is branding? So branding is the process of creating a unique identity and perception for a product, service, or company. It goes way beyond a logo or the visual elements of green and white and blue and this pretty letter. No. It encompasses the overall experience and the emotions associated with the brand. So let me see if I can explain this to you a little bit better. When we go into a Starbucks store, and I'll be talking about Starbucks probably today because I know it very well. If you go into a Starbucks store, wherever you go around the world, the outside is going to be maybe a little different, but the logo, the name will always be the same. So you know there's a Starbucks there. Once you go in, depending on the country it is, it may have some elements of that country, but it will always have elements of Starbucks, always. It's going to have a siren. It's going to have that smell of coffee, that aroma. It's going to be clean and comfortable. It's going to be modern. So these are things that are associated with the Starbucks brand. Not necessarily, I'm talking about green or black or the sign. I'm talking about the composition of everything. So brand is beyond logos. It encompasses the overall experience. So when I think of Starbucks, I'm thinking about green aprons. I'm thinking about a beautiful siren. I'm thinking about delicious smells, right? Coffee. I'm thinking about good food. But most importantly, I'm also thinking about that Starbucks experience. I'm going to go into a place that has air conditioning, that has comfy seats, right? That when I go to the restroom, it is clean. When I speak and order my drink, most likely they'll capture my name because they want to call me by my name. That's something that they used to do. I don't know if they still do it, but they should, because the most beautiful sound to human being is your name. So Starbucks employed that for many, many years before they started printing the labels to go on the cup, because people like to hear the names. Well, you know what people hated? When they did not get the name right. So we need to be very careful with the branding strategies that we put out there, that we execute them correctly. So what are the elements of branding, right? What, in my case, for example, a lot of people think that my brand, my personal brand, blonde hair and sunglasses. I really don't wear sunglasses now, but I wear them everywhere else because I need them for my eyes, because I'm using glasses, right? Today to read. But normally I use sunglasses. So you can always see, and you know that that's Virginia because she has the light blonde hair and she has sunglasses. So that is part of my branding. Those are elements of my branding. Red lips is probably another one of my branding. And that I speak energetically and maybe fast. That's also part of what I do, right? So that identifies me as Virginia Rivera, the brand. So let's talk about elements of brand. Number one, this is what a lot of people think a brand is, but it's not. A logo. Okay, so yes, it's going to give us an identity, right? So the logo will definitely give us an identity, but it is not the brand. It is part of the branding. I hope that I make myself clear. So this is the deal. Brand is the intangibles and tangibles, intangibles and the tangibles that comprise and make a brand, and that brings an emotion to our customer or client. So that the encompassing of everything is what a brand is. Branding is what we use, or the strategies we use to convey our brand. So logo is the first one, right? So that is going to create an identity in people's minds about who we are and what we do. So let's think about Starbucks. If you've ever been, Starbucks, white cup, green logo. Some have black logos, depending if it's a reserve store. Green apron. We'll know that they work in. If another company uses a green apron, we'll think that it's Starbucks because it's part of their element. But their logo, the Starbucks logo, has evolved. So in the 46 years or 47 years that they've been in existence, they've changed their logos or evolved their logos 4 times. I should have brought it so you could see, but that it's okay. First of all, they launched it, they explained it, and their customer base continued with them. They understood. But a well-designed logo represents the brand's values and personality, colors and typography. You need to be consistent with the colors you use. So we're talking about Starbucks, they use green and white, and now they're incorporating black. But they don't use blues, they don't use pinks, they don't use reds. These are their colors. We recognize them. And we also recognize the way they write their name in that bulky, bold lettering, right? And then the tone of voice. I want you to really close your eyes and think of your favorite brand. What is the voice of that brand? Is it a soft voice? Or is it a cool voice? Or is it a authoritative voice? What kind of voice is the brand that you love? I'll go back to Starbucks. So I used to tell my partners, which is our employees, when you think of Starbucks and you close your eyes, when you imagine them as a human, how do they sound? And they said they sound laid back. They sound relaxed, but that they know what they're doing. And you know what? That's exactly our brand. That was the brand that we were trying to convey. So tone of voice is very important. If you want to be an authority, then you're going to have that type of voice in your branding element. right? So what's a brand strategy? So the brand strategy has a various steps. So it's the business strategy, the customer profiling. You need to know who you're talking to. What's the brand image? What's our brand identity? What does our website say? And what does our content talk about? So this is a brand strategy that we recommend across the board. But what is it really? It's a clear brand message that aligns with business goals and target audience. It involves defining what is the brand positioning, who is your target market, and what is your unique selling proposition. So as an entrepreneur, yesterday we spoke about how important it was for us to have our differentiator. What makes us unique and different? What makes us only the best, unique? What is that? You know, we could have 50 different brands that sell shoes. What makes yours? Is it that you deliver them? Is it that you give, every time that somebody buys a pair of shoes, you give a pair of shoes away? Like, what is it that makes you different? Think about that. That is part of your brand strategy. That's your unique selling proposition. So brand strategy is really sitting down, taking in everything that your brand represents. And I'm talking about values, mission, vision, pillars. What is it that you want people to remember you by? You know, there's some stores that are boutiques. They sell clothes. There's Hollister, there's Abercrombie and Fitch. When you walk by that store, you get an aroma. It's a fragrance that you only get when you walk by that store. That is their fragrance. They paid to have that fragrance made because they did a research on their ideal client, and that was the smell they liked. So you see how everything conveys a brand. Everything will give us a message of what a brand is. So what is brand identity? Brand identity includes the visual elements that people will see, like the logo, the colors, the typography, and those are the letters. You know, what kind of letters are you using? And imagery. What kind of images do you use? You know, when I worked at Starbucks, and I'm going to go back to that, we only used photography that was action driven. So we didn't put pictures like this, posing. We put pictures like, you know, talking, serving coffee, laughing, action-driven images, because that's how we wanted people to perceive the brand, right? At the time. It's changed now. Now there's a lot of posing, but before it wasn't. Consistency across all brand touch points, including website, packaging, marketing, is essential. So this means that if you have your logo in different colors, but it's the same logo, I can understand why you may use it for some things, for example, because you have different categories. Let's say that you are a fashion brand, and when you use blue, it's men, but it's the same logo, but in blue, it's for men. Pink, it's for, I'm just being gender-based right here. You know, this is easy to identify with, but you can't be changing your logo every time that you want, because people will not recognize you. So we need consistency to really create a brand identity so people know who you are. So you know that IIU is IIU. You need to see our logo everywhere, the same one. We can't be changing it because you may be another institution that has the same letters, but you need to know that the colors are the same, the way the typography is the same. That is IIU. So let's talk about brand experience. And I think this is what will stay with the client and customer, is the experience they're going to have, that overall perception when interacting with your brand. I spoke before going into a coffee shop, right? I said it was Starbucks. Going into a coffee shop, and the first thing you do is the aroma envelops you, right? You're in the right place. The second thing is good lighting. I can see people. I know where I'm walking, right? Third, I'm listening to good music. I like this music. It's cool music. It's getting me into an atmosphere. The next thing I know and I notice is that there was no fingerprints on the food case, because I'm going to look at the food because I know I'm here for coffee, but I want to see what I want to get, right? So I want to make sure that I can see clearly all this is part of an experience. We haven't even arrived at the cashier to put our order in. So smell, sight, hearing, right? We're like, wow, this music is enveloping me. I like the vibe. Now we go to talk to somebody. There's got to be eye contact. Let me tell you, they are judged and given grading on eye contact, because eye contact makes the other person feel, seen, validated. So if you're like, hi, how are you? And you're looking everywhere else and you're not looking at your customer, that customer is not feeling validated. So why should they spend $5, $6, $7, right? So the other experience is I sit down, I stand up and I order, and my cashier or my order taker is looking at visual contact. Number 2, they're asking me, how is my day? I am feeling pretty good, because they care about me. And then they say, so can I help you? Do you know what you would like to order today? So I will ask them about that product that I've never tried before. And probably they'll say, you know what? We have a sampling of that right now. Let me get you a sample. They call the partner and they bring you a sample. I know all this because I work. So we're tasting, we're feeling validated. And then we put our order, we pay because they made us feel great. And if they got our name, it's even more fun. So we go to where we're going to pick up our drink. This is the key. The experience doesn't end when the exchange of money happens. The experience continues. When I walk over to that, I want somebody to say hello, to smile at me. I want it to be clean. And when they call my name or my order, I want it to be clear so I can pick it up. If I go to a table, I want it to be clean. That's all part of the experience. And if I go to the restroom, I want it to be clean. So you see, it's not just one thing. It's the experience, the entire experience that makes a brand so powerful and so exciting. So when we deliver consistent and positive brand experience at every touch point, we know that we are bringing the best brand experience. So this goes tied to brand communication. Brand communication is how they see us, where they see us, where are they getting our information, right? And I think that is so important. And they need to know where to find you also. So brand communication is all the ways and all the channels that we use to get to our customer. That is advertising, social media, public relations. The 4 R's of brand communication are review. We make sure that we have the right marketing information. We have gotten all our information so we can make a great, presentation or a great launch. We research. So where is our customer? When do we want to launch this? How long does it take? Renew. We start fresh with branding elements. There's some elements that are called evergreen. Have you ever heard the term evergreen? Evergreen is something that never changes, right? So the white cup for Starbucks is an evergreen product that doesn't change. But in Christmas, they bring a red one because it's Christmas. But evergreen is something that never changes. So we have evergreen information, evergreen communication, and then we have renew, right? We renew our communication. So there's always something happening. Innovation is the key for any successful. And then we do our rollout. Rollout is finally the date has arrived. We have everything in order. People know that we are communicating something. And then when that rollout happens, the customer is ready to receive because we studied everything. We know where we're going to find them. We know what they like. We know how to present it to them, right? And then we roll it out. So brands communicate consistently across the board. Brand message is very important. And tone. Tone is the voice we're using to talk. If you are a relaxed tone, if you normally are very chill, and all of a sudden one of your campaigns is of authority, there's got to be a reason. And I'm not saying you can't do that, but there's got to be a reason why you're doing it. Because maybe you want to position yourself differently. So there's a strategy behind it, right? So let's talk about brand equity. Brand equity refers to the value and the perception associated with a brand. Let me give you an example. Ricky Martin Foundation. You may not even, probably have never seen a picture of Ricky Martin, or if you have, it was 20 years ago, but you still know who Ricky Martin is because he has brand equity. He has a brand that is recognized all over the world. So when he went to India, he was very inspired about a lot of things, and he started a non-for-profit called the Ricky Martin Foundation. Ricky was no one that was working. He wasn't part of the staff. He was probably like an honorary board member. So they did listen to him, and he was sort of president, but he wasn't working in the day-to-day. You didn't see him in all the events. Nonetheless, he already had branding. So when he opened his foundation, it had the equity it needed, right? There was value. There was a brand associated perception that this is somebody who has a big heart. This is somebody who believes in equality. This is somebody that wants to end human trafficking. A strong brand can command higher prices, customer loyalty, and competitive advantage. Let me tell you a little bit about it. When people are in love with your brand, when you have worked your brand so well that people love you, they will do pretty much anything for you. I want you, and we'll talk about him a little bit later, but our founder, Piyush Pandit, is not only a serial entrepreneur, he's actually a social worker. He's a change maker. He believes in education unto the smallest pore of his being. And this is what he exudes every day. He's every day working out, talking to people, talking to students, studying, being better, advocating for human rights, going out there, making sure that everybody has access to education. Part of his brand is IIU. Part of his brand is James International School. Part of his brand is being active and recognizing other educationists. That's all part of a brand. So IIU benefits from Mr. Pandit's brand, personal brand, because we trust him. We believe in him. We see him doing the work. So there's perception there. He is not only talking about this, he's actually doing it every day. So when Mr. Pandit asks any of us or anybody else, let me tell you, to do something, people will do it immediately because they have his loyalty and he has their loyalty. He connected with them, and we're going to talk about this a little later, emotionally. So when you have a brand like IIU that hundreds of you join us every day, it's because you trust us. It's because you trust the IIU name, because to you, it's a perception of value. The people that teach here, those educators, are field commanders. They're actually people that are directing out in the field and what they do. So when they come here, they know what they're doing. They know what they're talking about. You trust that. So every day you are here learning something new. We have more than 5,000 registered e-learners. I am sure that we probably have hundreds of thousands of learners, hundreds of thousands, because we use a channel that is open to everybody, and that is a live channel. So we use a live channel, so you have access to our education at all. If we have a certified paid program, well, then you will pay a nominal fee, but then you will go into a closed program. But we will let you know where it is and where it's at. And most likely you'll say, I want to join because I know IIU. I know their quality. I know the quality of the people that teach there. So I want to learn there. So you see, brand equity is so important, and it has everything to do with every step that we've talked about before. In order to write here and to write perception and that perception of value, we need to work on everything. We need to be consistent. We need to make sure that our brand experience is great, that our identity is understood, right? So I hope that I am making myself clear when I talk about brand equity and how important that is. So brand equity is brand awareness, it's brand association, it's perceived quality, it's the brand experience, it's the brand preference. You could pick any coffee in the world, but you will look and scour for Starbucks because that's what you want. Also in India, Starbucks, if I'm not mistaken, is with Tata. I don't know yet, but I know it was. And that is another brand that is super, super trusting. And that is brand association, right? brand loyalty, brand awareness again. So all this comprises what brand equity is. So here we are. Let's talk a little bit about this. So why is personal branding so important? So personal branding is the practice of defining and promoting your unique identity and value in both personal and professional settings. So I have used as an example our founder, Mr. Piyush Pandit. And the reason why is because we see him everywhere. So Mr. Piyush Pandit is in global news, he is in local news, he is in Indian news, but not only that, he has channels that are so far reaching that he reaches hundreds of thousands of people. So when he says something, he has access to many people. So what he says is heard and understood, but most importantly, affects people emotionally. So why should I invest in having a personal brand like Mr. Piyush Pandit? Number one, it gives me differentiation. They may be a lot of men in India doing certain things, but we know what Mr. Piyush Pandit does because we see it every day, because he shares it with us, because we see him out in the trenches with the students, with the schools, creating things in the e-village. We see him at IIU. We see him crossing borders, talking to people. So this is what we see. So we have it very, very present. Your personal brand sets you apart from others, highlighting your individuality and your strength. Trust and credibility. And I think this is one of the things that Mr. Pandit does so well. We trust him. And, he's an attorney. He is an educator. He is a father, a husband, a son. He is an advocate. We know where he stands. So his personal brand builds trust with his people and his audience and established him as an authority in his field. There is nobody like him. I mean, it's really hard to be Mr. Piyush Pandit, right? He does so much, but we know that when he speaks, we all listen, because when he speaks, he's speaking with authority that he has worked for and that he has earned. It also helps you with the career advancement. It can open doors to new opportunities, enhance your career prospects, and increase your earning potential. When I say this, I want you to listen to me clearly. If you are working in the same company for the last 10, 5, 15, 20 years, and you've been serving or working for a boss, most likely the majority of your work will be under your boss's credit, right? Because it's one team and that boss, she or he, is the pinnacle of that team. Now, if you started talking in your personal channel about what you do for him, you don't have to say him or her name. You don't have to say the company's name, but you can say what I do every day is I am an administrative assistant. I make sure that every paper, every call, every acquaintance that our department gets, I acknowledge. I make sure they feel welcome and that they also feel that they've been validated. My job is to be my boss's person. I am here to represent them. So when you talk about that, other people, and you're talking, maybe you're in Instagram, and you're saying this, they're going to be probably, just to give you a number, maybe 3,000 people, women and men and women, that do exactly what you do. And they're going to stop and they're going to say, wow, I do that. And then you're going to say, I love it because I meet so many people. One of the reasons why I've been in this position for 20 years is because it's given me a great opportunity to make contacts and do networking. These are just things. And then people are going to say, wow, she's right. And before you know it, if you continue talking about what you know and what you do, people will start looking at you as an authority. And you may not want to be an entrepreneur, but you may want to get a promotion. So maybe the bosses of the boss did not know that you were there because you have a boss. There is a face. But when they started hearing about you, they're like, he sounds really interesting. He sounds like he knows what he's doing. You may get your career advanced. So really cleaning up our personal branding is important. Really creating a personal brand is important. And when I tell you clean up, check out your social media. People will look at it. Believe me, work or not work related. If you say this is my personal, they're still going to look at it. So make sure that you have no compromising issues or photos in social media. Remember that social media is like standing on top of a table, screaming out everything about yourself because everybody has access. So that's why personal branding is so important. So let's look at some case studies. I'm going to give you two because we don't have very much time. So number one, the case study I spoke about is Starbucks. If you look at the Starbucks cup, you'll see it right there, a little photo that says, "Our barista promise. Love your beverage or let us know. We'll always make it right." This promise is part of their brand. If you don't like what I gave you, let me know and I'll make it again free until you are happy with your drink. Let me tell you, that is an incredible promise. That has my $4. That has my $5 because I know that if I don't like it, they're going to make it again. That doesn't mean that I'm going to drink it and then go say I didn't like it. No. This is not what I ordered. Can you change it for me? And they will. Also, the primary product responsible for Starbucks success is not coffee. It's the customer experience. They got it right. So I want you to get it right. You know, it's not only about the product you're selling, it's about everything. It's also about brand loyalty for Starbucks. Every time that you buy something at Starbucks, you are rewarded because they knew that their customers come regularly. So I want to make sure that customer never leaves me. So I am rewarding them for their loyalty. So they have a Starbucks program and you earn stars and you earn money and you earn free food and you earn a lot of things when you purchase. You're spending your money. You're happy with that, but now you get something in return. Let me tell you, the Starbucks brand loyalty program was one of the first in the world to be rolled out globally. And I think they're still rolling it out. If you don't have it in your country, you will have it soon. Giving back to the environment. One of the things that is key to Starbucks is making sure that they're part of the solution, not part of the problem. They make sure that you know that. It is communicated. It's part of the brand communication. Number one, they have a plant-based menu. They have biodegradable disposables. They were the first company that said no more straws, and they created a lid so we would not use straws. And they will always talk about how they ethically source their coffee. They make sure that their coffee is sourced with the right water in the right, so the soil is happy, nurturing correctly, not with chemicals, but with natural byproducts. And most importantly, their pay is just and fair. And that is what we want to make sure that when we are really going to a Starbucks, we know that we are actually giving back. And where's Starbucks? Starbucks, usually you'll find them in busy neighborhoods or up and coming neighborhoods. If you know of a neighborhood that's not that great, but Starbucks is building, buy in that property. They have done their research and they will make sure that that area is up and coming. This is a little tip. Let's talk about Tata. Tata in India is the #1 brand. There's some really great brands in India, but this is #1. It was more visible and had more positive connotations than any other Indian company or industrial group. So they make sure that their brand identity is clear. They make sure that their brand communication says everything and that their strategy is encompassing, it's going everywhere. This company culture, the way the company thrives, it's not that they write it anywhere, it's what they do when they're inside with their employees. It's lead, never follow. That's powerful. It's Starbucks, it's inspire and nurture the human spirit. It doesn't say anything about coffee, nothing. And then here it's lead, never follow. So we want to make sure that all of our employees have this mentality. Over 150 years of existence, it's a constant vision of Tata companies consisted of the community being center stage. So they make sure the community is part of everything that they do. And that is why people trust them. A vital attribute to the Tata brand has been in pioneering spirit. The Tatas were the first to establish a steel mill in India, a power company in India, 5-star hospitality in India, and an IT services company in India. So when you are a pioneer, people will always remember you. When you are the inventor, when you are the first. Tata companies were the first to provide branded salt in India, first to curate branded jewelry in India, and the first to sell retail steel in India. So Their pioneering nature is well recognized. That is what's about them. They lead, they never follow. Let me say something, and I want, if I'm talking to these future entrepreneurs, we don't always pioneer, right? Somebody already made it or invented it, and we become colonizers, right? We take it and we're like, I can make this better. And you do, and you make it better. But there's always going to be a space for the pioneer. IIU is a pioneering invention. Of course, other people are going to come after, but we are the pioneer. James International School is a pioneering invention because it's going to the remote areas of the country where there are no schools and bring international curricula. So all child and all children have access. That's the dream. Maybe other people will copy it. Nobody will be the pioneer. When we think about the things that we do, we think of maybe breaking and being pioneers. That is wonderful. And if you have innovation and invention, let me tell you, you will always thrive. It doesn't mean that everything's going to work. Some things will not work. You just have to try them, right? And they will teach you. They'll be a great school. But my tidbit for you is like, be the pioneer, but if you can't, be the best colonizer, be a humane colonizer. Use that person's invention and do it with respect. Give them the respect that they deserve, and then add your differentiator, what makes you unique, right? And that, I think everybody will be happy. So in conclusion, branding is essential for businesses to stand out in a competitive market. It involves elements like logos, colors, typography, brand strategy, and brand experience. A strong brand can lead to a higher customer loyalty and competitive advantage. They will pay. You see, once there's brand love, once you've enamored your customer, once your customer loves you, and they have your trust and their emotions are invested in your brand, you can do anything. So do it with love, do it with respect. Even if they will do anything. I am sharing here. This is a bunch of logos. And remember, a logo is not brand. The logo is not a brand. A brand is tangibles and intangible. It represents values, missions, vision, colors, feelings, everything is part of your brand. And when we use it correctly, it's called a branding strategy. And we use that to brand so everybody can see it. So we have BMW, we have Pepsi, we have Ray-Ban, Google, Disney, Samsung, Fanta, FedEx, Adidas, General Electric, Apple, Virgin. A lot of these don't even say the name. They've evolved. If you look at the Starbucks brand, it doesn't say Starbucks coffee anymore. It just has a siren. We don't need Starbucks coffee anymore because we know what it is. We recognize the brand. So thank you all for being here today. I am so excited to talk about branding. It's one of my favorite topics because we all are. We all are. And I can't say enough how important it is for me, for you to understand that you are unique and that only you can represent yourself the way you are. So take some time to work on your social media, take some time to work on everything that you write because it represents you. And remember that when you're in social media, you're standing on a table, bringing it out to the world. Take care. See you soon. And I'll see you here again at IIU. Remember, we're in 195 countries, more than 1,000 educators, 5,000 registered students, and then we have hundreds of thousands of students all around the world. And we want one of those to be in. Bye-bye. Take care.